We're going to talk now to Daniel Rubenstein, former advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu, because, of course, Gaza very much on the front line of news yesterday. An awful lot of footage coming out of there saying hundreds of people have been killed. These are figures, obviously, as I always say, from Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, spoke about what happened about these military strikes that started on Gaza a couple of nights ago. Let's have a look.
Hamas is responsible for this war. It invaded our towns, murdered our people, raped our women, and kidnapped our loved ones. Hamas refused offer after offer to release our hostages. In the past 2 weeks, Israel did not initiate any military action in the hope that Hamas would change course. Well, that didn't happen. While Israel accepted the offer of President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, Hamas flatly refused to do so. And this is why I authorized yesterday the renewal of military action against Hamas. Israel does not target Palestinian civilians. We target Hamas terrorists.
And that's been the refrain pretty much since October the 7th of 2023. Daniel, very good morning to you.
A pleasant morning to you as well.
Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, obviously, the scenes that we saw yesterday would be interpreted by different people in a different way. Certainly, the strikes that happened were said to have killed about 6 leading members of Hamas, including the current sort of effective Prime Minister, if you like, of Gaza. What can you tell us about the individuals that were targeted?
Israel is at war, and it has been clear about what its war aims are. First is the removal of the Hamas government and military from Gaza, and the second is the safe return of every hostage that Hamas is holding in its underground terror dungeons. Israel recently targeted a number of Hamas government figures in Gaza. These are the government figures that are part of the Hamas terror regime in Gaza that is choosing war for the past year and a half after the October 7th massacre and refusing to give up power to a government that will choose peace instead of war. So we are not in this situation because we want to be in this situation. We are in this situation because Gaza has a government that is an Islamic supremacist organization that is pledging war until Israel's destroyed, and it's demanding a massive ransom payment in exchange for the hostages that it has chained underground, tortured, and starved.
And how many more of Hamas authorities, if you like, or Hamas authority figures are there to be taken out? Because I seem to remember maybe a year or so ago, which was a long time into the conflict, that some Israeli military officials were saying, we think we've pretty much got rid of Hamas. I mean, it's obviously not the case. So how much more of Hamas does need to be extracted, if you like?
Hamas has been degraded, but it has not been destroyed. And in fact, Hamas is in a position to grow and to strengthen because Hamas is the government of Gaza, and all of the food and supplies that generous international donors send into Gaza, Hamas is there to take them, to tax them, and to use the revenue from the taxes to fund its terrorist army, to pay the people who are holding the hostages, and to recruit new members to its terrorist army. So Hamas controls the Gaza economy from the entrance points to Gaza, and it's able to use this money to strengthen itself. This is why this war is continuing. We need a new path that does not allow Hamas to maintain control of Gaza. But it's a very delicate situation when Hamas is holding 59 hostages, some of them living, some of them dead, and refuses to release them.
Is there any hope that Hamas can ever be destroyed?
Yes, there is hope that Hamas can be destroyed, but it will require a long and sustained campaign that looks different than what has been happening for the past year and a half, which is that Israel has effectively allowed Hamas to remain the government of Gaza. Hamas has controlled the border crossings. Hamas controls the food supply. Hamas controls the economy, and it's using this money to pay its fighters. So we need to cut off Hamas's money and supplies and ability to govern, and this will require more military action in Gaza.
Okay. Daniel, thanks for talking to us. Good to see you. Daniel Rubenstein, former advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu